Never gets old. I just had a cataplexy attack in the supermarket, and it got me thinking about cataplexy and sort of how it presents itself in some pretty interesting ways. This particular one happened, I think, because I had a positive emotion, a strong positive emotion. Usually it's a strong positive emotion that causes it for me, but funnily enough, I was in the shopping centre, in the grocery, getting some groceries, and I was actually afraid first. I had an emotion of fear, and I was afraid because I could feel a sleep attack coming on, and I was getting tired, and therefore I was getting anxious and afraid that I would be so tired I wouldn't be able to leave the store. And then at the same time, I, for a second, felt a feeling of comfort because I was in a store where this has happened before, and I know that people aren't going to freak out. And it's funny, I think that's what tipped it over. I think initially it was fear, and then I had that slight comforting feeling that if it was going to happen here, or if it was going to happen anywhere, that if it happened here, it wouldn't be such a bad thing. And I think that's really what, tipped it over the edge and why it happened. So it's really funny. It's really funny how cataplexy can happen. It's still, I'm at the point now where I'm not going to worst case scenario in my head while it's happening. Worst case scenario is usually someone calling an ambulance, or someone robbing me, or someone doing something to me and I'm not in control and able to defend myself. That sort of fear is a lot less than it used to be, especially before I was not diagnosed. But it's still there. I hadn't had one in a couple of days, and I think it still kind of shocked me a bit. My heart was racing as I was laying there for a couple of minutes, and so it still has that sort of effect on me. I'm not sure if I'll ever get to the point where I don't get really distressed when it happens, but I guess that's part of this journey. And as helpful, well, not helpful, but as useful as it was when I used to control my emotions or shut them off, whenever I'd feel like I was going to have the cataplexy attack, I know that I can't do that anymore, because not only was it toxic to, shut off my emotions, it also was really tiring and painful. And also, so many people would ask me during the day, especially days when I really had control of my emotions and I was dialed in. People would ask me things like, how are you feeling? And I always found that question really difficult to answer, because, if I was doing my job correctly, I felt nothing, I was numb. But that is a strange thing to say, so I would try and think over my day and how my day had been, and how someone who had had the day the day that I'd had, how they would feel. And I would just answer with, what I would logically think someone would feel having that day. But, no one knew underneath. Actually, I felt nothing. And a lot of the time I do. It's automatic. Repressing my emotions so much and numbing them down is very normal for me. And it's something It's really hard to untrain. It's something that I am actively working at, and I have accepted that to do that really well is going to mean that my cataplexy is going to increase, because I'm going to allow myself to have feelings and emotions. So yeah, I just thought I would share that. It just really, it's never dull, and never surprising. There's so many times when it does happen, when my symptoms do come on with this condition, that I just shake my head. It's one of those things where you can prepare as much as you want and as much as you can for expected outcomes, only to realize that it's always unexpected, and it's really random, and it's just, the more you try and grab for some control or some understanding or some sort of patterning, the more that you are humbled with that idea of thinking, because it just doesn't track with this condition. So yeah, that's cataplexy.